actually a very difficult question to answer. People in the business of writing about this tend to define talent in very different ways. Some define it in a very restricted way to apply only to the people at the very top of the distribution curve, the sort of alphas, the top-rate minds. Some completely in the other direction define it to mean almost anybody in the workforce. It's a synonym for workers, and I think the first is clearly much too restrictive. The second is so broad as to be completely meaningless. I think it does depend on context, you know. If you're in a management consultancy firm, then talent really does mean, you know, high-level analytical ability. If you're in Southwest Airlines, then talent means the ability to be personable and pleasant and crack a few jokes quite often and keep the passengers happy. But more broadly, I think I use the term talent to mean brain power. And I use the term talent worker to mean something like Peter Drucker's knowledge workers, not exclusively, but in general. I think the talent that really matters in the modern economy is the talent to use one's brain, both for analytic and creative purposes.
Okay, to understand what vitamin D does, we need to understand a central concept. The function of vitamin D is to maintain blood calcium. You probably think that the function of vitamin D is to maintain strong bones and teeth, but it does that by accident. Its real function is to maintain your blood calcium level in a very narrow range. And the reason for that is if your blood calcium level falls below about 9 milligrams per 100 millilitres, then you're going to get into big trouble and die rather quickly. And that's because blood calcium is important for muscle contraction and nerve transmission. And if you don't have enough of it, you can't contract muscles normally. There can't be normal nerve impulses. And this results in a disease called tetany, where you get these uncontrolled convulsions, followed by rapid death. Calcium is also important for enzyme activity and blood clotting.
Some years ago, Bjorn Lomborg, a young Danish statistician, published a book called The Skeptical Environmentalist. It became a bestseller and generated a lot of heat. Lomborg was attacked, abused and accused of all manner of things, not because he denied the fact of global warming, in fact he affirmed it, but because on his analysis the devil, and he says a lot of deviousness, was contained in the details presented concerning the size of the problem and what were the most responsible steps to take in response to global warming.
I think that's not going to be such a viable option for Cerberus, but that may be the way that they're going to approach it. Private equity, of course, is supposed to have the advantage of taking management out of the spotlight of quarterly profits and industry analysts and prying shareholder eyes, and that hypothetically gives them a chance to take slower, more patient routes to doing something to turn a company around. I would hope, and I have some, I guess, optimism that some of the Cerberus team will have some creativity and imagination.
Well, there's a positive obligation on the bank to ensure that the people who are signing a loan guarantee know what they're doing. Loan guarantees are kind of unique in that someone is giving security or a guarantee and placing themselves at risk for someone else, and they receive nothing material in return. So you've got to ask yourself, why is this person doing this? Do they know what they're doing? They're risking a lot and not really getting anything back for it. So the imperative is that the bank must ensure that these people know what they're doing and that they fully understand the implications of what they're doing, and they know that their properties may be sold if another person doesn't meet their obligations.
For some people, this proposition may seem far-fetched, but ending poverty is both morally necessary and actually feasible. All of us must play a role in making it happen. All human beings want and have a right to live in dignity, to determine our own destinies, and to be respected by other people. Despite the universality of these rights, our capacities to fulfill them vary enormously. And no dividing line is more profound in influencing the quality of our lives than the gulf between poverty and prosperity.
It's in financial companies' interest to have people save more money.
Further research should establish whether this trend is significant.
A gradual increase occurred between October and December.